A jury has spoken after a 2-week trial in King County against Seattle Children's Hospital. Jurors found that children did cause harm to 3 children who were treated for exposure to a potentially deadly mold. But what is telling is how much the jury awarded in damages. King 5's Chris Ingles has been following this trial. He just stepped out of the courthouse in Seattle and joins us live with the very latest. Chris.
Hi, Christine. Here at the King County Courthouse this morning, that jury decided that Seattle children should pay damages, but considering that this is a medical case, they are numbers that might be considered low. $215,000 to be spread among 3 families. This verdict, which was read a couple of hours ago by the judge, caps a trial on behalf of 3 fragile children who underwent procedures in 2018 and 2019. Later, parents were notified that their children might have been exposed to Aspergillus mold in Seattle Children's operating room. That mold isn't supposed to be in a sterile environment, but in 2019, the hospital admitted 6 children died from Aspergillus infections over the previous 18 years. The families say the antifungal treatments that their children endured created an additional hardship in addition to their fragile conditions from their medical problems. The hospital admitted fault, but said the preventative treatments were minor to moderate, and none of the children were actually infected. Jennifer Mills, who is herself a doctor, sued to send a message to Seattle Children's.
For our family specifically, a very tragic scare where we thought our daughter was infected with Aspergillus. There is that moment in time for several months that was quite horrible.
Dr. Mills' child, Mia, was being treated at Children's for a heart problem and then later was told that she might have been exposed to Aspergillus. The doctor says she is not disappointed by this verdict, or the verdict of her and the other families, because it's a verdict in her favor, and she says that helps hold Seattle Children's accountable. Meanwhile, the hospital itself just released a statement to us saying Seattle Children's greatest priority is the health and safety of our parents. We think the court endures. We think the court's verdict, we thank the court for its work and careful consideration and evidence in this matter. Seattle Children's accepts responsibility for the potential exposure in our operating rooms, and we accept the jury's verdict. Again, Christine, this was a case of Seattle admitting it was liable for that harm, but the jury deciding that the damages should be $215,000, a number that might be considered low, considering this is a medical case.
Chris, you've been following this case from the very beginning. Aren't there more plaintiffs in this trial?
Yeah, so in this category, Christine, where children were not actually infected with mold, but they were treated for mold exposure, there are about 70 more of those cases waiting trial. And then there's an additional 20 cases of children that were infected with mold and did get sick, in some cases of children dying. The question in those cases is, were they infected at the hospital or somewhere else? And so, yes, there's a lot of cases that are still to go to trial here.
Okay.